bitch is shaking the table.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Shaking the Table. Bing, 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 bing. So, today is an episode that is very special to me because I love when people who listen to this podcast actually come on this podcast because they know what I want them to say. And, it's just always great to have a loyal listener. So, shout out to Cash.
Oh,
Cash, I'm going to give you a second to introduce yourself, but let me just introduce her first. Let me tell you something about the people of Baltimore, Maryland. Let me tell you something about people whose phone numbers start in 410443. So I'm just a little biased, y'all. And that's fine if you're from a different place. Nobody asked y'all, but I gotta have more Baltimore people on the show. So if you're from Baltimore, I'm gonna shout you out. Hey, you knuckleheads, fuck it is, dummy. All of that. All right, now that I'm done being a whole Ronald McDonald, Cash, introduce yourself, girl. Tell the people who you is and what you
okay,
do.
so I'm Cash. I go by Cash or Kashionn, which is like cash and fashion made into one word. It's my social media handles. I make clothes. I'm an apparel designer. I have a girls brand called Girls from Planet Venus. I've been an entrepreneur slash designer for a year and maybe like 3 or 4 months. So yeah, that's me right now.
Okay, so talk about Girls from Planet Venus. Where does that name even come from?
Which is crazier than crazy is that I didn't even make this name up, right? So I was talking to this guy I used to date, and we always like bounce ideas off of each other. So I was saying like I wanted to have like a brand for girls. Like this is right before like the Me Too women empowerment movement really got like popping. I was like, we don't
Hmm.
have nothing that like girls can just like, collaborate and like we could come and converse and all that stuff. So I wanted to start having girl events, but I needed like a branch for it because I was having fashion shows under my Style by the Influence branch. And so I was trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, I want something to do with girls and like Venus because I'm an Aquarius. So, Venus is the Aquarius goddess. Then this guy called me a Venus flytrap one day and it kind of stuck with me. It's really crazy though, because I asked him why he said that. And he was like, because like you're really captivating. It's like a fly on the trap. But once you get here, you stuck. And I was like,
Oh,
ooh, literally like, okay, so I've always liked Venus. And then so he was like, why don't you do like Girls from Venus? And I was like, oh, bet that's lit. But then over the summer, I got into some legal issues. So now it's Girls from Planet Venus. So that's where we at.
oh, so somebody basically tried to pull up and was like, "Sorry, that's mine."
Technically, no, but kind of sortly. So it's a company that's like not anywhere near us. Like you probably wouldn't even blink. Like you would look straight past them if you seen them somewhere or like came across them on IG. So
Hmm.
they try to say like it was just likelihood for confusion when I did my trademark. So I'm trying to have all my legal stuff squared out. So I was doing trademarking, I got the LLC, and I was doing all that. In the process of me doing all that, they was like, "Oh, let me send this to her house. Tell her she need to turn that shit off." Like. So yeah, but yeah, so they basically was like, "Yeah, it's a likelihood for confusion because we've had this trademark since before I was even born." So I
Oh
was like,
Lord.
"Damn." So I really ain't had that much of an argument. But yeah, so we just transition from Girls from Venus to Girls from Planet Venus. Same difference though. Still GFV, so it's all well in my book.
Okay, so they still on the vibes and they still know the logo when they see it, and that's on
Period.
semicolon because the shit is unfinished. Moving on. I want to know more about like your background. Why did you want to work in fashion? I know sometimes it's like, oh, my mom designed clothes, or maybe like when you were a kid, like you just wanted to play dress up. Like, what was the inspiration behind wanting to pursue fashion?
So when I was younger, my parents let me dress myself for the most part. So like my favorite like cash dressing story is like my mom told my dad to take me to Nordstrom to get me like some cute little Converse I'm gonna wear for like a 2 year old photo shoot or whatever. My dad was into like buying us clothes and stuff. Like my mom would kind of send him to the store like to shop for us sometimes. But that's like my dad was really big on like making sure we look nice. So that's one thing. But um this one time when I was a kid, my dad was taking me to the store to get like some Converse for like a 2 year old photo shoot. And I ended up coming back home with these shoes that had like straps across the front and they glue in the dark, and I could take a ball out the middle of the shoe and play with it. My mother was like, what in the world? Like, why would you buy her that? And he was like, because she wanted them. My mom was like, she is 2 years old. What do you mean shoes? So yeah, like ever since, like I love that. That's like one of my favorite cat like little cat stories. So like I feel like I've always liked clothes. Of course, like we all had the Brat doll and That's So Raven inspiration from like when we were kids. But I feel like when I was a kid, it was either I was going to be a chef or I was going to be a fashion designer. I only had two ways to go. I mean, that kind of changed when I got older, but then I kind of came back to fashion design. In Baltimore, it's kind of like there are no girls here making like streetwear. I want to say streetwear is just becoming a woman's market. Like, to be truthfully honest, like women's wear and streetwear is becoming like a more household kind of thing with like the bringing up of like athleisure. So now it's like more common for you to see women wearing sneakers all the time and sweats all the time, and like kind of dressing stuff like the sweats and like heels and like the jogger and heels type of stuff. So I felt like it was important for me to make clothes that I liked and people like me, like people that relate to me on that kind of level. So like honestly, I was tired of shopping at Fashion Nova for clothes, and like I don't like nothing. Like, it's not that I dislike the brand, but like they steal from Black women, so I'm not extremely fond of that. Even like Pretty Little Thing and Misguided, everybody has their little, thievery ways, as I want to call it. So it's just like I needed to find something that met me halfway. Like, it wasn't extremely dull, but it wasn't like extremely trendy and doing a lot. So I was just like, let me just make my own clothes, and that's kind of how I started.
So when did you start making your clothes? When did you decide, like, all right, I can't find nothing I like, so I'm about to just make it?
Um, I wanted to have a clothing line since like 2014, but I don't. I actually don't remember. I just remember that I was just like cutting up my clothes and stuff, doing that for a while, and then like maybe 2 years ago, I was going to a Rico Nasty concert, and I actually like handmade her like a jean shirt. It was actually kind of weird because I made that shirt the same day I gave it to her. I made like a jean like bandeau, and like you connected it together with like safety pins. It was really cool. And then after that, I was like, I actually want to make clothes, make clothes. So then I started like looking up like manufacturers and getting stuff together. And I ended up getting a random loan from my bank. And my mom was like, well, you need to build your credit. So like, just take the loan. And I was like, I mean, you ain't got to pay it back, but I'm going to take it because money is money. Like,
Yeah.
So I had like 5K. So with half of it, I had a fashion show. And with the other half, I started the clothing
Okay, we're gonna get into that in a second. But
line.
so everybody has like a story or like some kind of moment where they were like, look, this is my purpose, this is what I need to do in my life. Did you have one of those moments with fashion? Like,
Not, I mean, with Curls from Venus, yes.
okay, tell me about that.
So my I've had Girls from Venus. When this happened, I had Girls from Venus for maybe like 5 months. I was just minding my my little business, and I got an email from For Rent Shoes, which is like a streetwear type of store that we used to have in downtown Baltimore. They moved. Well, the people moved around, and the store isn't open anymore. So I got an email from their creative director, like, oh, like, we like your stuff. Like, can you come in for a meeting so we could talk about like selling your clothes in the store? And I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's like my fifth day out here. I don't even know what's going on. So I'm like, I'm definitely gonna go. Like, I was talking to my friends, like, that's crazy. But it was like a full circle moment because like I had a fashion show and For Rent sponsors the events. And I reached out for them to sponsor an event, and like I didn't get any response. I was like, damn, like I ain't big enough for them. But then I started making clothes, and I was like, oh, they like me. Like, so that was like really, really cool. So then we got into it. I made my spring collection, and I debuted at the store with a pop up. And I completely basically sold out in there.
Wow.
I was the only brand out of all the 300 brands they show in the store to make like over a K in 4 hours. 70% of the people that walked in the store bought something, and then 60% bought more than two things.
Okay, booked and
So yeah,
busy.
that was my moment. That was my moment. I was like, okay, I'm here to stay. I know what I'm doing a little bit more than I thought I did, so it was cool. That was my moment.
So let's go to because a lot of people that may be listening may not know like your story and sort of like the challenges that you face. So talk a little bit about that, because to hear that somebody has had that much success at the pop up, and like you said, it's only your third day out here, or whatever the phrase is. But how did that, like, how did you get to that moment? And like, I guess, why is that moment so special for you?
So when I had to make my acceptance speech, I said I used to pray for times like this
You
to
know what?
rhyme like this. But I'm dead ass. Like, I really felt like everything that I've done in my life was like preparation for me to have girls from Planet Venus. And I say this because like I've always been like a busy kid. Like well, Lauren knows my best friend India, so you can ask India. Like, I've always been busy. I've always been doing stuff like since we've been friends. So there were like Saturdays I couldn't hang out with my friends because I was in DC like writing plays, or I was at a Boys and Girls Club doing an event like with my brother who sings and stuff like that. Like, and then summers I couldn't do stuff with my friends because I was away at like overnight camp, like doing summer intensives, all types of stuff. And I did take that type of stuff until I was like 18. From the moment that I was like, I want to say like 10 or 12. So I feel like me having all these, well, just because like I feel like I was groomed to have a life where I can like multitask and do things and be on track with what I want to do and like be disciplined. That's the word. Like, be extremely disciplined. So for me, it was like, I'm not gonna say it was easy because nothing about having a brand is ever going to be easy, but it was more so I know I have to get this done, so let me just do it with a lot of things with the brand. Even though I still am very, very like hesitant with doing stuff with the brand. I still procrastinate like crazy. I'm supposed to be doing something right now and I'm not. So it's just like
This
it's
is
just like
technically
when you
for the
know,
brand.
well, you're right. But like I make like to-do lists and I do this and I do that. Like, but I feel like my upbringing just like pushed me into trying so many different things. And like I was blogging at first. And then I started having a fashion shows. Like, I did 2 fashion shows. And then I started Girls from Venus. And it was just like all of it just was flowing together, like to be preparation for the next thing.
Okay. So let's talk about like your childhood experiences because you said you kept busy and you always had something. My sis was booked. Period. Um, But I know that, like, as a person who also grew up in Baltimore, I know like it can be challenging when you are trying to start like a business or you're trying to come out to your own thing. Talk about that experience. Like, what was it like trying to be a creative in this city? I know people always like talk shit about Baltimore, like, oh yeah, it's nothing but a bunch of crabs in the barrel. Like, talk about that experience. How was it like coming up as a designer and a creative and just trying to make a name for yourself in this city?
To me, just as many crabs in the barrel it is, just many people that want to also help you and uplift you.
Mm-hmm.
So like I want to say when I first started out, and me and him are still friends to this day. His name is G. That's my graphic designer. If you ever see me talking to anybody named Veggies, that's my graphic designer. And me and him have been like locked in since the moment we met. Like, he's one person that made my flyers, my logos. Like, he did everything for me. Came to the shows, put his clothes in the shows, and he really showed out. So him, just the strength of like me meeting him off like Instagram, and then with us becoming so cool to the point where we have like breakfast on Sunday mornings, like that showed me that there is more to Baltimore than just crabs in a barrel. But don't get me wrong, like me having that first fashion show showed me that people really are petty here. Like, if you don't have a big name, if you don't have a big brand, and then I was 19 too. So people was looking at me like,
Okay.
oh, she young, she don't know what she doing, whatever, whatever. Contrary to belief, I sold out. But like, people always think the negative first when it comes to people here, which is kind of bad. Like, it sucks. So when it came to like me networking and trying to build like, and collab and stuff with people, it was definitely hard, especially because the women here are terrible. And I have to say terrible because like I have more support from guys in Baltimore than I do from women in Baltimore, which I think
Really?
is so crazy. Yes, women buy the clothes, but they don't like support. I've had guys come by the whole line for their girlfriends though. That's why I'm like, the guys support more. Like, perfect example, I met this guy and I was trying to learn how to use Illustrator and figure out how I can make my own mock-ups before I send them to my manufacturers. And he taught me in one day. And he didn't even really know me. He just called me
That's
one day and
sweet.
was like, oh yeah, like download the app. And oh, excuse me. Oh, child. Okay. He was like, download the app. He gave me his login and all that stuff. Because I was going to pay for it myself because I was like, I got to use it a lot anyways once I learn how to use it. He's like, oh, no, just use mine. I pay for it every month. It's chill, whatever. He gave me all this information, taught me how to use it. Like, A woman here would never. I've had women here steal my clothes, like steal my like do photography for me and never give me my pictures. Like
Wow.
they're petty. The crabs in the barrel got like bows on them. Like they girls. Like that's really how I feel. They got bows and like the claws are like literally nails. They coffin nails.
Child, the
Because they're women.
ghetto. That's
Yeah,
so
for real.
sad.
It
Because
is.
you
It
would
really
think
sucks
that people,
though.
yeah, you would think that there's some kind of like gender solidarity.
Yeah, exactly. Because the guys here stick together. Like,
Yeah.
if I don't see anything else, the rap boys here stick together. The guys that make clothes here stick together. The guys that throw events stick together. And I was like, I just don't understand. Like, my cousin Raven is also friends with a lot of guys. I see them support her like crazy. And the women support her too. But, like, I see her on panels with guys more. Or, like, reaching out to them more. And they're always supporting her more. And I was just like, that's really, like, crazy. Like she does radio, which is like, still in that same like entertainment field. But it's just like,
Oh, slide me her contact. Maybe she'll come on
oh,
the
I will, sure,
podcast.
absolutely.
Okay, come on.
Absolutely.
I always love to ask creatives like who was their muse. I hate using the word muse because that sounds like really dramatic, but like who inspires you?
Well, of course I love Rihanna.
Rihanna. How did I know?
Because she's the ultimate businesswoman. I post her on my story almost every day. But like I watched her like come up and then dominate music and then like slide and dominate fashion and then like slide and dominate like the beauty industry. Everybody's like, oh my God, like put out an album. I'm like, no, like she's getting to the bag. Like she can not make music for me ever again because I'm satisfied.
Same.
I'm not gonna lie
I
to
think
you.
I'm
Like
okay.
I'm satisfied. I'm fine. Like every day she put out a new makeup product. So what do I need music for? I don't. I'm going to go buy a new gloss bomb. Like,
I love her as the Avon lady. She could stay that way.
y'all need to respect her and cut it out.
For real, everybody
Yeah,
just
I
is
love
mad
Rihanna.
that obviously you have to learn trial and error and trial by fire. But is there anything that you wish you would have known, like starting out?
Like budgeting and money management?
It could be anything. We could start there.
No, like that's the very first thing.
Budgeting and money management. Okay, why you say that?
Yes, because if you don't have like a budget, then you're just gonna like drag. So, like perfect example, I had that 5K that I split for half of the show, half of my brand, and I was just like, I got the money, boom, I got the money, boom, I got the money, boom, and was producing all the clothes. I ain't had nothing to ship these clothes in. I ain't had no business cards. Like I didn't have nothing. So I'm just like, wow, I still got a little bit of money left. Let me try to make something shake. So I had to get somebody to make my business cards real quick. Had to do this, had to do that. And some stuff, like I spent all that money, first of all, immediately. And then I realized like I could have did so much more. I would have like planned it out more and not just been so quick and fast and in a hurry. But because I was new out here and I just seen money and I knew I had the money to make what I needed to make, I just was moving. So I feel like budgeting is very, very important. So a way that you can budget is like saying how much you would spend on something. And like, for example, like I got sweatsuits. Okay, I'm spending 2,000 on sweatsuits, ballpark. Then I need a sample of sweatsuits so I can know how it fits, whatever. I can feel the fabric, whatever. Maybe your sample budget for your whole winter line is like $200. Then you're getting like 50 for each, for each item you're making. You're making 4 items. So that's a good way to budget for me, per se. Another way is just like to write down every single like thing you pay for. That's a great way to budget. I also have a separate account from Girls from Venus because I don't really touch that money too much. I might buy myself lunch with it here and there, but other than that, like I don't touch it. So it has like a whole separate card with a whole separate bank and a whole separate account. That's really, really helpful too, because you can still see where all the money is going and you can see how it's being spent, and you really can just watch it, and it's easier to separate from your regular finances.
Okay, 2 accounts, 2 phones, Kevin Gates. I feel you. And then is there anything else outside of the money management side that you wish you would have known?
Promote yourself all the time. Like I'm still struggling with that because I know like with Instagram and the algorithm and you don't want to be a pest on nobody's timeline, but the more you post, the more people are going to see it. The more you hashtag, more people are going to see it. You don't want to put hashtags on your shit because it looks ugly, and people not really trying to look at your hashtag shit. That'd be like a book long on a caption. Like that shit is like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's annoying to even look at. So for me, I had to get into like constantly promoting myself, and I'm still trying to do it. That's one thing. Like, don't be shy about promoting yourself because you don't know what can happen from that. They found me for rent from a random hashtag, so it works. That is a real thing. I will also say to like I guess make your brand about your brand and not about you per se, because I feel like people get caught up in the whole like this my brand, I'm a socialite type of thing, and then they forget why they got here. So
Never forget
I
your
don't
why.
I
I like
never
that.
yeah, I never want to do that. So that's why I have two separate accounts. Like you see me doing Girls from Venus stuff on my account here and there, but like this is also my personal account for my personal life. It's not private, but this is not where you can come and ask me, do I have a large in a hoodie? Because I'm not going to answer. You can come and ask me on the Girls from Venus page if I got a large in a hoodie, and then I'm going to be like, yep, it's online. Go ahead and grab it. Like, it's people got to separate that. Like, I know people know me and this, that, and the third, but like 2020, I'm not doing no drop ups. Drop ups. I'm not doing any drop offs, no pickups, nothing. Like, if you want to shop with me, you need to meet me online. Like, it's no, I'm for real. Like,
No, for
because I
real.
did that last year, like different, like for certain people, I would do it, like come to my house and you could grab something, but that's inconveniencing me because people love to live on their own time, and like I like to live on mine. So
And it's
I'm
also
not
not
doing
safe out
that.
here. Don't be having nobody pull up to your house. What's wrong
Literally,
with you?
literally.
Don't
Well,
you live
no,
over
not
east?
me. Girl,
Oh.
I live by Morgan. I'd be like, meet me. I'd be like, meet me at Sunny's.
I'm like, hold on. You live over east. Talking about some damn beat me at my house. They might not make it.
No. No. First of all, don't you dare, don't you dare come for me.
But but all right, let's stop fucking around. So all right, I do like to ask people like what keeps them motivated because I know like for me, it's having these conversations with people who listen to the podcast who also want to come on the podcast and like just the engagement that I see socially. So for you, what keeps you going? Like what makes you say, I'm in this for the long haul, like this is where I'm supposed to be.
So, well, I really, really enjoy how much people like my clothes. Like, I make it for me, but I also make it for other people. Like, I started out that's kind of selfish though, how I started, because I was like, yeah, I don't like this stuff, so I'm gonna make some stuff that I like, and I hope people like it. But now it's like I'm really engaging with my customers. Like I send out emails and I do polls on the Girls from Venus Instagram page. I keep saying Girls from Venus. It's a planet in there, I promise. So for real, because sometimes I just forget. So I do like polls on the Instagram page and I talk to people on the Twitter DMs. Like, so I feel like the more I engage with my customers, the more I'm like, okay, people really like this. People really feel like this is something they can invest in for the long haul. And that makes me feel good because it's like I'm doing something right. I'm not just making clothes for me. People actually really like this. So that's I think that's like my main motivator, but also like me just knowing that like there's more to life than me just working. I actually
Hmm.
have a purpose, and it's to make clothes. It's to, I guess, give people, I feel like it's kind of entertainment in a sense, because like people are looking and watching and waiting for me to release new stuff, and when I do release, like people are excited to buy it. So that's a good thing for me. That motivates me to just want to continuously make new items and to challenge myself to make better items for people who are watching and people who are buying them. It's like selling ass.
Okay.
I wish I was lying. Like, it's literally like selling ass. It's hard.
So how, because I know that like I have friends who sell things and we
Mm-hmm.
always have the conversation about like their price points and them like wanting to change, go higher or lower depending on the audience. How do you feel how do you feel about that? Because people may not always have the money, but they really want to support. Let's get into that whole time. I don't even know where to start with that. Like for you, do you question your own price point at any point, or you like too high, too low? Like how do you approach that?
When I first came out with my hoodies, I was like, I don't know how much to make these because I try to price stuff on how I would buy it. So I'm like, am I buying a $4 hoodie? Not a $40 lifetime, but what are these hoodies worth? So it goes from like, what would I spend it on? Like, how would I spend my money on this brand? And then it goes to like, but how much is this actually worth? Like my like friends who make clothes, who have like stores in Baltimore and all that, said like this is a $80 hoodie, the cropped hoodies that came out with like a year ago. And I was like, this is an $80 hoodie. They was like, yeah, how much you selling this for? I said like 30. And they was like, why? And I was like, because people are broke. Like my target audience when I first started making clothes was for college students, because like I'm in and out of school and my best friends are in school and I see like them going to and from class, like, looking raggedy. They need a nice hoodie to put on. So I'm like, sometimes when you're stressed out and you gotta run a class real quick, you don't have time to put on a whole ensemble. So you might need like a quick hoodie. So I would not charge a college student more than like $50 for a hoodie. But then our generation of like the broke college student is a myth, low key, because like we're broke until we gotta like figure out an outfit to wear for homecoming.
Okay.
We're broke until homecoming tickets come out. Like it's really crazy out here when it comes to stuff like that. And then also we got college students who like drive BMWs.
Got Yeezys on. I don't even got Yeezys, and I got
literally
a freaking. Oh my god!
I'm saying though, got on like the newest, freshest sneakers all the time, Balenciaga down to the socks. So it's like, who is the broke college student? Because y'all be having on Milano suits, like they not cheap. Shout out to Milano because I love her brand, but like they not cheap. So then, when it comes to like price points, I think about how much I spent on like me getting the product, not adding everything like materials, shipping, business cards, everything. Then I like divided by how much of it I have. And then I'm like, okay, is that a good enough price? If not, the profit margin is supposed to be like 3 times what you spent on it. So like if I bought one sweatsuit for like $50, I'm supposed to charge you $150 for a sweatsuit, which I think I'm not gonna ever do until I'm like Gucci level of like clothing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how much you're supposed to charge. But being a new brand, it's like, people, I'm about to say, who do you think you are charging that much? It takes you back because it's like people say stuff like that to you. Like perfect example is like, the brand Eat from DC.
Mm-hmm.
So he put out some Letterman jackets, like I want to say maybe like last year, maybe a
Oh,
year
the
before
really
last,
expensive joints, and he said he was
and
only
they were
making like
$1,000.
8. Yeah.
Yes, and everybody was like, "Who does he think he is? This stuff is da 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 da," and like really going in on him.
He's
And
a
I'm
genius.
like, I love his stuff. Like literally, that's a solid brand. Like for real. So I was just like, as a creative, I see the vision. Like I see why they're $1,000. And I looked at it like he had like patches everywhere. Stuff was on the sleeve. Stuff was on the back. I was like, that's not cheap product. So I'm not mad at that. And then I seen everybody like he not Gucci and da 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 da. So then it comes to the conversation of, well, would you ask Gucci why these shoes $1,000?
Exactly.
You would not. You would not. So honestly, I've gotten to the point where I charge what I think my product is kind of worth while still trying to be in a decent person's budget. But I ask my friends because like they're not my target audience, but we all kind of have different shopping habits.
Hold on, let's
So I
pause
thought it
on
was
that
cool.
real quick too.
Okay.
The friends not being your target audience, because I said that and my friends was like, what? But let's elaborate on that, because I think that that's a thing, right? Like when I make episodes, I ask my friends like, hey, do you think this is interesting? But I'm still gonna put the shit out anyway. Like if I really like it or if I really think that other people are gonna like it. So talk about that friends are not your target audience thing.
So I don't make clothes for them. Like it's real simple. I don't make shit for them. And it's like my friends all buy girls from me. It's like my friends all have some stuff. We like, they wear it and it's chill. But it's just like it goes beyond like your comfort zone. So my first orders were my friends and people that I've never met before, people that follow me on social media. Like people that I've never seen before. So I can't just make clothes for y'all and what y'all say goes. Also because we're all in the same place.
That's very
People
true.
in Baltimore all kind of dress the same. Not gonna get me like we got a couple of handfuls who, like jump out there and do some crazy stuff and like it'd be cool, or they dress really nice, and that's fine. But majority of people that in Baltimore dress the same. We all wear the same thing. We all shop at Towson Mall, so it's like we don't have the range, the leverage isn't there. Especially when your friends aren't into clothes and trends and stuff. It's not it's not clicking. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not clicking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're not my target because I'm not only making, I make clothes beyond my friend group, beyond my city, beyond my state. So that's why I feel like that's not my target. They're not my target audience.
Yeah, I think that goes for any like creative piece of work. Like
Absolutely.
you, I think a lot of times we want our friends' support, but like you said, the people that be laughing at my episodes and the people that be sharing my shit, even when I forgot I made an episode, it be people I never thought before. I be having my days, Cash. You know, we have whole conversations. I be having my days where I'm like, fuck this podcast, I quit. Like an episode I thought I was good is not good. But then an episode where I'm talking about love and my dating life, people are like, oh my God, this is your best one. I had an episode.
Because stuff like people like when they can relate. Like we all out here fucked up. That's the craziest thing about it. We all out here fucked up with these crazy dating lives,
That's
these
true.
crazy stories, and it's like nobody can relate because it's so far fetched. But this is normal shit. Like it's not like, and it's weird how like the craziest things are now normal.
Bruh, yes, the episode that we did about like when we had people ask us sex questions, the episode had 400 plays in 3 days. And
Mm-hmm.
that was just the one platform. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yo,
That's
who the
crazy.
fuck is listening to this? Number one. Number two, y'all nosy. And number three, if you want to listen to it, share it so your friends can listen to it with your friends, but each use different device. Put
Right.
your AirPods in. Because I need to get these clicks off. Ha. So you've made jokes about like quitting the shit before. What gets you there? Like, why do you say that? It makes me upset,
Um.
okay? I don't like it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think when I tweeted it and you responded, that was when like I came back from like my little mini sabbatical I took from like making clothes. Cause like from October until like maybe like early September to October, after the pop up and after the spring, like the spring summer stuff, I was like in a rut trying to figure out what I was making for fall. And I'm kind of proactive, so I make all my designs for the next season, the season before,
Mm-hmm.
so I can have stuff to like, even if I just have samples, I have something to like shoot with. So now I can like get pre-orders or like figure out how people like it, whatever. So it came to like September, October, and I didn't have any like ideas at all. I had a bunch and I hated them all. My grandfather passed, and it was kind of my dad's death anniversary too.
I'm
So
sorry.
I was just like, "Oh, thank you." But I just be over it sometimes. Like, you know, like you get like two in your head about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much going on, and you just kind of like shut down. So that's kind of what happened for a little bit. And I wasn't really promoting Girls from Venus. Like, people would ask me, like, "Do you still make clothes?" And like, as disrespectful as that is, I see the vision, and I was like, "Okay, I do," but something's coming soon, hopefully, maybe
They
eventually.
was looking for it. They
So
was lurking.
yeah, and I appreciate that because it kind of made me feel like, okay, I need to actually get it going, but I can't overly, like, I guess, like, be overly creative. Like, I can make 1,000 designs, but I don't like 999 of them. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I'll like one. Like with the, and it was weird because like with the purple sweatsuit, it just came to my head and I like put it together and it was like the same day. I was like, damn, this is it. And it happened in one day. And I was trying to make clothes for like 3 months and I had like a terrible like rut.
That's how it be.
Yeah, it really sucks. So that kind of gets you to the point where it's like, are you made for this? Like, I should just quit. This shit costs too much money to be stressing out. Like, it went through like 50 different phases of just like, do you want to do this or not? Like, that's really how it was. And then manufacturing gets to the point where it's overseas, so you can't go fight nobody, and that really frustrates me because I can't really wild out like how I would like to in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't wild out no more because I'm a nice businesswoman. I got the LLC, so I got to protect my assets.
Period.
But it's just like, it's so frustrating. First of all, being up at 12 o'clock midnight saying you put this on the wrong side and you use the wrong font. What's the issue? What's not clicking?
What was the
Like New
reason?
York mother. Yes, literally. So if that takes you there, like you spending all this money on, perfect example, I spent so much money on the sweatsuits, and the ones that I actually wear, the pocket came sewn shut. But because I worked in retail, I know how to sew. I can like, undo the pocket and make it like wearable because I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a PR package for Rico Nasty. I don't know if you know, I love Rico Nasty. I'm a real big Rico fan.
Yes,
So
Rico,
I made her this
Rico.
big ass PR package that I wanted to send her. And I put that sweatsuit in there. But something in me was like, check the sweatsuits. And I checked it and the pocket was sewn shut. You know how mad I would have been if she would have hit me like the pocket sewn shut? I probably would have jumped off a bridge. I probably would have jumped to Indy Harbor and dived
In the
ass naked.
harbor.
I would have been geeked. Like, I would have been pissed. So, yeah, like, little stuff like that. Like, that took me over the edge. The DHL man all in my house, like, yeah, you got 4 packages. So here come all the sweatsuits. And I'm opening these boxes that's bigger than me. And then the pocket's sewn shut. Like, what in the hell? Yeah, you gotta be patient with yourself first and foremost. Like, you're not gonna always sell out. You're not gonna always have the greatest design of all time. You're not gonna always have designs to make. So having self-patience is really, really key. Being self-motivating is a good one too, because your friend's not gonna pat you on your back and be like, you doing a good job, because them bitches got lives too. So
That's the fun.
you got to be able to keep the momentum going for yourself. You have to be organized because stuff is crazy. Like, I have a job, I do YouTube, I make clothes. I'm trying to get back into throwing events too. So it's just like, you have to be organized. Like, my GFV Google Drive is so thick. It's like thicker than a peanut butter sandwich with a Snicker in the middle thick. Like, it's it's so much stuff in there, because whenever I think of one thing, like, I map out my seasons, like how I want to make clothes. I got this one Google Doc with like everything I want to make from now until I can't think no more. I can't make no more clothes. Mm-hmm. So I have every single idea I've ever thought of in the Google Drive. Like, you just have to be that organized, because you never know when life is going to be like, yeah, like, okay, we can't do that. What's next? So you got to have everything planned out. You got to be organized enough to like be able to hop from one thing to the next. Another tip I have for being a successful fashion designer, you got to get out of your own way.
Ooh.
And that's something I really, really struggle with, because I'm not big on like graphic designs, but they sell well. So I had to like figure out how to make a graphic that I like. So I did the small alien head and the big one, because the small one gives you like minimal, but the big one gives you like streetwear. So you gotta find your like meeting place with like being out of your comfort zone and getting out of your own way. It's hard. It's really hard, because for a while I used to make like kind of basic type of stuff. Then I made like the jersey dress, and I was like, okay, we got a pattern up in there, cool. Then I made this, and I'm like, okay, we have color, we have design, like, it's getting a bit more intricate, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big thing, getting out your own way. Also, because like, I feel like I was too good to send PR packages. I'm not going to hold you. Like, I don't like the idea of PR packages, because it's not a guarantee that you're going to wear this.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee that you're going to really look at it. But I decided that all my methods aren't always going to work. I'm not going to always have like do things that I like to do. So why not try PR just once? So I'm sending my first round out with the sweatsuits now, and I'm gonna just hope it goes well.
This me crossing my fingers and my big toe.
Thank you. I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, because I mean, girl, I gotta convince people to listen to this voice every other Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is a struggle, but like, to sell something and to actually sell something that's good is I know that's a whole struggle. So moving forward, because I know we talked about the past and then we talked about the present. Let's talk about your future. Where do you see yourself in Girls from Venus in the next 10 years, if you had to think out?
I will have a showroom in somewhere either in Maryland or in another like residing state, only because I feel like stuff in this actual city doesn't do well. And the city is changing like crazy, so I don't want anything really tangible here, because I gotta like get up and go. So I also will be curating fashion week shows. That's something for me that I want to do in particular. Not really 100% with Girls from Venus, but definitely with my personal life, because I feel like that's something that I do well. I do plan and organize pretty well. So I feel like that goes hand in hand with me just being like a creative director of my own brand. I have a lot of stuff planned, so
I'm
I don't know.
excited.
So
You better go ahead and get these
Thank-
affirmations on, girl.
okay, I will also have collaborations. That's something I'm hesitant about now. So I will have collaborations with brands that are local and not local in the future. I just don't know how to work with others 100% yet.
Okay, same.
So I'm
It's
working
all right.
that. And once that happens, people are funny about money.
Yes.
So I just don't want to get in a position where I feel like I gotta like call the police because y'all being funny about money. Like, because I got a lawyer on retainer. I don't got time. Like,
Girl.
like
This whole working with a team thing. Ooh, oh no. I got one social media person and I love her to death and that we riding together. All right, but Cash, thank you so much for participating in this episode. You're the best.
of
I wish you nothing but the best of
course.
luck.
Oh,
I can't wait.
thanks.
I
Same
can't
to
wait to get some
you.
money so I can buy me some girls from Venus. Girls from Planet Venus. Let's not get
Yes.
sued, but
Yeah, they're not the PNA. Should we throw the PNA? You feel
but
me?
yeah, I feel like you have a bright future, and I don't put people on the show that I
Oh,
don't believe
thanks.
in. So
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna
okay,
cry.
you're an Aquarius. You don't have emotions, so stop, please.
Ooh.
And on that note,
Bye, guys.